Welcome to Securely Flex. This video is for teachers, staff, and admin role users, and it will review how to use the +add feature in the system. Keep in mind, I will often refer to teachers, but the content of this video applies to all adults who use Flex. The +add priority level is shown here on our priority legend. It is above the 3 choice levels: open, advertised, and optional. It's also above the mandatory required level. So when +adding a student or students, you may be pulling them out of a choice activity or a required level activity. +adding will not pull a student out of a priority or admin required level activity. +adding a student functions differently than the other priority levels available to adults. +add is available to be used with previously scheduled activities, whereas the other priority levels are set by the teacher when creating the original activity. +add is often used by teachers to have a student make up a quiz or test, have a one-on-one meeting, or as a last-minute way to schedule the student into an activity. Let's start by looking at what a teacher can do when it comes to +adding a student to an activity. Teachers can +add a student before and after the cutoff time. So for example, today is Thursday the 19th and it's after the cutoff time. You can see I no longer have a schedule activity button, so I can +add even after the cutoff time. You might think of +adding as an override to the cutoff time. Teachers can actually +add to their current day activities through the end of the calendar day. So if I didn't have a chance to +add a student who showed up for my Flex activity and I remember this later in the day, I can come to the +add button on the scheduled activity and +add the student. I simply click the plus button, search for the student's name, add that student to the list, and click Save. The student is now on the attendance list. It's important to go to the student attendance screen and submit the attendance for that additional student, assuming you've already submitted attendance for the rest of the class. We can do this from the attendance list by making sure we have the correct status selected and then clicking the blue circle check mark out to the right of the student record. It is also possible to +add students directly from the student attendance screen using this button here. Once again, don't forget to submit the attendance for the +added student. Back on my teacher screen, I'd like to point out that teachers can also +add students to scheduled activities for future dates. For example, I am running an open activity tomorrow, and let's say I have a student who needs to make up a test. I can +add them here. Let me show you what it looks like for the student. Notice the +added activity is at the blue +add priority level. This is true anytime a teacher +adds a student, regardless of what the teacher's original priority level is for the scheduled activity. It will be blue +add for the student who was added. Also, as a quick reminder, the +add priority level takes precedence over required, optional, advertised, or open, which means the student might be pulled out of an activity at one of these levels. Let's look at what happens when a second teacher tries to +add the same student for the same Flex period. Here we're in Mr. Hammond's Flex screen, and for tomorrow the 20th, we're going to attempt to add Brandon. When this happens, a red message will pop up letting the teacher know that the student has already been +added by another teacher. A similar message will appear if the student is scheduled in a higher priority activity. I'd like to show you this again when Mr. Hammond is adding numerous students through the +add feature. In the group I'm +adding, I've included student Brandon again, who we know is already +added for this Flex period. When the teacher clicks Save, the red message appears listing the student or students who are not available to be added. The teacher must go back to the +add window and remove these students in order to successfully +add the available students. Lastly, I'd like to touch on some additional functionality that system admins have when it comes to the +add feature. I am logged in as an admin to our demo system. An admin can simulate a teacher and, if necessary, go back to a prior date and +add an available student. When doing this, the admin must +add from the student attendance screen. They cannot do this from the My Schedule screen. This is not something that teachers and staff have access to do in Flex. Admins can also submit attendance for the prior date in order to have accurate attendance in the system. So for example, this admin is simulating teacher Keffer, and we will go back to the student attendance screen for Tuesday the 17th. Here we can plus add the student and submit the attendance for that student. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions about using the Flex system, please check out our other training resources in the Help section of Flex and follow your internal procedures for submitting questions.